Oh, let me tell you something. Busting makes me feel good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Blockbusting, the podcast where we love to hate the movies. I'm your host, Jay Light. Joining me today, Tony Bartolone.
How you doing, man?
I'm pretty good, man. How about you?
Pretty good.
I have some people on my street who were leaf blowering right before we started. I was nervous it was going to carry over, but they respect podcasts.
There's been construction going on here, starts at 7 every morning, and for some reason it kind of mellows out around noon. I think they just get lazy, the workers or something.
Yeah, why would you want to do construction past noon anyway? Just get it done in the morning, and then it gets hot, and then you leave.
Way less productive after lunch, I guess.
Well, you've got a movie that you've brought to me today to talk about, and I don't know why you hate this one. I've had this on my radar since before COVID-19 started. We were supposed to do an episode right around then, and then life got in the way. But it's Mad Max Fury Road. What's wrong with you? How can you hate Mad Max Fury Road?
First of all, I don't generally like action movies.
Okay.
So that's one thing. And it's not that I don't like action movies. I think a lot of them are not good. And I don't know, I like some of them. This one, there just wasn't enough story for me I like movies with a lot of dialogue. This definitely wasn't that. But I can do, can I give a preface? Can I preface this with
preface away.
I will say that I've never regretted watching a movie. I don't think. I love movies. Even if it's bad, even if I don't like it, it's like that was 2 hours. I wasn't over analyzing every aspect of my life, Mm-hmm. So they're like a meditative thing that's I think vital to my life. I even do before I watch a movie, I do a little meditation and try to release all expectations and just kind of be present and let.
That's really good. I mean, I try and do that kind of stuff too. Yeah. That gets you. It's a good way to watch a movie because it's so easy these days to watch a movie with preconceived notions. And I really in the past couple of years have tried to avoid reviews as much as I can.
Definitely reviews before you see it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like people who are I don't watch the trailer. I love movie trailers. That almost more than movies, I think, in some way. They're like little movie babies, They're just pure. And I like the trailer for Fury Road. In fact, I was watching it right now.
I mean, I was watching it right before we podcasted too. It's such a great trailer, and trailers.
It's a good trailer.
They have to be good for the most part. I did just watch a trailer for a movie that was actually bad, and the trailer is bad too, and it makes the movie look unappealing to me, which is weird. I haven't seen a movie trailer that made me not want to see the movie in quite some time. But I did that. 2 in a row, actually. The Tom and Jerry movie, I saw the trailer for that.
I got psyched on it.
That's so funny because with it.
I wrote a note here somewhere. I made notes on why I don't like this. Because I saw it when it came out 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm. 5 years ago now.
5 years ago. So I wrote something if I wanted to watch a movie that the whole thing was just a chase, I would watch Tom and Jerry because it's the least entertaining. That's the cat and mouse.
But now you actually get Tom and Jerry. Yeah. So hey, your wish came true.
There was one that came out when I was a kid, a Tom and Jerry movie that I liked.
I remember. I feel like I saw that on Cartoon Network. It feels something they probably had in the rotation there.
I definitely was a big fan as a kid, like watching the whatever movies they made and short cartoons.
So you like Tom and Jerry cartoons?
Oh
You
yeah.
think those have more artistic merit than Mad Max Fury Road?
Here's the thing too. I don't think Mad Max is not without artistic merit. There's obviously so many talented people who worked really hard on making this movie, and I just feel like it's the most frustrating movie because I've thought about it a lot because when I started posting how much I didn't like it, people came after me.
Mm-hmm.
Like and you were like you're wrong and you're stupid and you can't possibly not like this movie. And it's kind of interesting. Like I was like, why are you guys so? Can't you just let me not enjoy something? Like I watched it and I didn't like it. Like I didn't enjoy the experience.
So yeah, what was if you had to like distill the feeling that you got right after you left the theater? What was the big like? Is there one big
Emptiness.
just emptiness? Is there like
A boredom. I was bored.
how can you be bored watching this movie?
I thought it was just like a lot of fire. It was like fireworks. How long can you watch fireworks? Like 10 minutes.
I watched
done.
fireworks for 2 hours. Sure.
I mean, like what? How long's the Disneyland show? That's like the best fireworks show. It's like maybe 15 minutes. Yeah, I just felt like it was just a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of flair. It felt very empty. I mean, you will admit the story is very thin. It's not a like story heavy movie at all.
Right, but I attribute that more to the genre of film that it is. You know, it's an action movie. Action filmmaking is not a typically story heavy genre. Like even the most heavy story movies that are that are action films tend to be stuff with an established franchise behind it. Like I would say that the closest we're getting in the past several years to a story heavy action movie is maybe Skyfall. You know, and that's James Bond. You've got a whole 20-something films.
Which I did enjoy that, and I think it might be the only James Bond I've watched from beginning to end in one sitting.
It's a great James Bond.
Because I saw it in the theater.
Well, it's James Bond cinema, which is tough to do. You can't. It's hard to point to an example of a James Bond movie
I saw it
that
at
feels like
Grauman's
it's
too.
elevated beyond.
So it was like, have you ever been to the TCL and watched a movie?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever told the story in this podcast before, or to you outside of podcasting land. I have seen a few movies there. The first time I ever saw something there was the premiere of the new season of Arrested Development.
Oh, I remember when they were. I maybe even saw you in line for that. I don't know.
I snuck into it.
Oh yeah,
because I had a friend of mine but this is when I worked at Flappers.
I think I had tickets and I went and the line was just too long and I was like, "There's no way I'm getting in," and he gave up on it.
So a buddy of mine and I both worked at Flappers, and he went to on his break. He went to like get a Chipotle or Starbucks or something, and they had because outside the Burbank AMC, they always had people who were handing out cards to go see like advanced screenings of things. So
I got many there. Yes.
Yeah. So he got one for Arrested Development premiere, and he tried to register for it online, and it was sold out. They had given away all the tickets. So he photoshopped tickets. And then we just dressed up nice and waited in line, and then we got to be let into the movies.
Yeah, because they don't scan those.
Yeah, they just take them.
Yeah.
And then, next thing you know, I'm taking a piss next to Ed Begley Jr. and everything.
Also,
everything
that was promotional, not feedback.
Right.
Some are like focus group kind of screenings, but that was just to promote that the season was coming out.
Yeah, they had like a red carpet with an ostrich on it because it was big in season 4, and it was fun. But yes, I have seen a few things at the.
It's just got the
Chinese
best
theater.
sound, and the screen is fucking huge. I've sat in lots of different. It's the worst is sitting in the front in that theater. I saw Marriage Story, and I was in the front row all the way to the right. And it's all a lot of close-ups, and they looked warped, and like it was almost like kind of like felt like I was watching it on drugs a little bit.
I felt that way about. I usually like sitting pretty close. I like the
Yeah.
movie to be
Oh
in
yeah,
my
me too.
full field of vision on the
I'm a big.
screen.
I'm with you on that. People.
Yeah.
People who don't understand people who want to sit in the back all the time.
Yeah, why would you want to
Blows
watch
my
the
mind.
movie like you're watching it at your house?
Yeah.
I don't need that. I'm coming to the movie theater for
I
the
want to be in there.
experience. Yes, I want to be in.
Yeah.
But anyway, I actually think I saw Mad Max Fury Road at the TCL also.
I will say two things
Uh-huh.
about the way I watched Mad Max that might. One, I wish I had watched it right when it came out.
Okay.
Definitely, people built it the fuck up. This happened. I think Guardians of the Galaxy. I had the same kind of thing where I was underwhelmed because people were so crazy about it.
Okay.
And I didn't go in thinking, I'm not cynical. I want to like every movie I see. I was rooting for it. I mean, I like Guardians way more than I like this. I haven't really seen any of the other Mad Maxes.
I mean, I haven't either, but I don't think you need to. Like,
okay, I didn't
this
think so
movie
either.
stands on its own, right?
People
like,
told me I didn't need to. Yeah.
This is straight from the Wikipedia page. It's considered one of the greatest action films of all time. Received 10 Academy Award nominations,
Yeah,
including
that's
Best
okay.
Picture and Best Director.
And I knew that was going to happen, and that's something that bothers me because, like, The Dark Knight didn't get nominated. Jaws didn't get nominated for Best Picture.
Jaws didn't get nominated for Best
Jurassic
Picture?
Park. Yeah, no, there's a famous video of maybe Steven Spielberg didn't get nominated. Let me look that up.
I'm looking it up. I think. Let's see. I know that Dark Knight didn't get nominated. That was the year that Dark Knight and WALL-E both got shut out. And everybody started freaking out because they picked The Reader instead of either of those movies.
It got the regular action, kind of like elevated action movie award.
Jaws got nominated for Best Picture.
No.
It did.
No.
Spielberg didn't get nominated for Best Director. But Jaws was nominated for Best Picture.
Okay. Yeah, it was. Okay, so fucking Jaws got nominated.
Okay,
Jurassic Park.
So let me get this.
Didn't get nominated.
So let me get this straight. So you have a problem with the fact that they didn't nominate those things and nominated this instead.
Right. People, for whatever reason, people looked at this movie as high art, and I thought that was like going too far.
It is. It is art, though. It's okay. I was afraid that this might happen, Tony. Which is now we're going to have an argument on the podcast.
I'm not here to argue with you. I'm here. I'll state my case though.
I want to hear because I feel like we still haven't even gotten a
so
chance
many.
to hear
Yes,
the full
okay,
case.
and
Get your case out.
Can I just
then
say,
we can back and forth.
Spoilers don't matter, right? Like
No, spoil away.
Okay, if you're watching this and you haven't seen this movie, I don't know what the fuck is your. You must be a real big fan of me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't exist. Okay. I like I said, I'll give the art direction is strong. The visual stuff, yeah, is kind of cool, but like it was just one chase scene. I don't really like chase scenes, but that was the whole movie. Also, I live in a desert with droughts and fires. Why would I want to spend 2 hours in a movie version of that? Like, it was so desolate. There was no hope or redemption or anything for me to grasp onto. Like, the characters were thin. The whole thing just felt so empty and shallow. Like it felt like, to me, it felt like Avatar, where I watched Avatar in the theater in 3D, and I was like kind of enchanted during the movie. But every time someone spoke, I got pissed. Like, it was just the worst dialogue ever. And then like after the movie, I just felt empty, and I was like, that was dumb. But at least Avatar had like a fucking theme that was like, hey, don't destroy the planet, you idiots. Otherwise, you'll be in a fucking Mad Max movie, which would be truly terrible. I I just
Okay.
like good cinematography and cool special effects and cool art direction doesn't make it a good movie. Like what is the point of that movie? Look, they literally this is the point. They go, there's a fucking oasis somewhere. Let's find the water and plants and stuff. And then they go and it's not there. And that's the only time I felt like I was feeling Furios's pain when
Mm-hmm.
she finds out there's no oasis and it was just a fucking myth or whatever.
Right.
But then she went down on her knees and did that like that fucking cliche trope thing, and I just immediately was back out and I was like, fuck this cheesy stupid bullshit. Like it felt like such a movie. Like I was so aware that I was watching a movie the whole time and not invested in any. There was nothing to bite into. Like
All right, I got it. You're making some points that I can't disagree with, right? Like the thing you just said about how you rarely felt more aware that you were watching a movie than watching this. I felt that too. I was watching it again last night to prep for today, and I've seen it a couple times. This is my third watch in the history of since it's been out. And there are things I didn't pick up on the first couple times that I picked up on now. Like there's some very obvious like silent movie style over-cranked shots going on where they're clearly moving faster than is possible. They're cranking it up in the edit.
Yeah, there's I know what you're talking about, and they're even left out frames. I think
I think they just cut some frames out. Yeah. And it feels very jittery, and it definitely feels like, for the most part, it's a fantastical story that I'm clearly watching, and I'm not like, yeah, there's no way that this is going to happen in our lifetimes, right? Like this is a movie. This is clearly. There's a lot of stuff going on here. They're playing into the common elements of storytelling here. You have stuff that it is a little bit tropey, right? There is some parts that feel not necessarily like retreads, but there are elements of things that we've seen before in stories like this.
It's like the only way you know the story is because of your knowledge of movies. You know what I mean?
But okay, so I
like
don't.
It relies on like things that have existed before to convey a story, which I feel like is weak. It's like it's you said it's like a standalone. I don't feel like it's. I feel like it relies on a lot of different things.
I guess the question
that you haven't seen Mad Max though, like the other ones.
I've never seen any of them, and
that is interesting because I thought that was part of it. Like there was a nostalgia element.
No, I'd never seen any of the Mad Maxes, and I still, like, even watching this, again, when I watched it yesterday, I found myself feeling emotional at parts that I didn't feel emotional at before. Like when Nux finally sacrifices himself, when they're on their way back to the Citadel, I got a little choked up, which I didn't expect to happen watching Mad Max Fury Road. And here's what I'll say, is that I think the question that I have for you is, does a movie not have the merit if even if it's telling a story that you feel like has been done before, not the specifics of a bunch of people in a post-apocalyptic car-driven society murdering each other and trying to find an oasis of peace and humanity, maybe not that exact story, but the elements of the action film and the elements of what's going on here. If a film like Mad Max Fury Road can exist that raises the bar to a level that has, for my money, has not been cleared by action filmmaking since it came out, does that mean that it lacks artistic merit, even though it's setting a new level for filmmaking to get to?
Well, I wouldn't agree that it did that. I think it. Yeah.
But why do you think it didn't do that? What action movies this decade have been better than Mad Max?
One of the things that's frustrating about this movie is it's like, by all accounts, I feel like I should love it. Even I feel that, just based on like just a bunch of, because it's a weird movie, and I like weird movies, and but it's like, I don't, it was like 90% of a good movie, and then that last 10% was very important to me, like, which is like I didn't care about anything that happened to the people. Like I said, I had that one moment where I started caring, and then they they went with the cheesy why whatever that. Well, I like that's how you know it was a bad movie. Charlize Theron went down on her knees, and I was like, I don't like this.
It's crazy. This is crazy to me that you didn't like this movie. Because it's got.
I mean, it's not just. It was. Yeah, you're in the majority. I recognize I'm the outlier.
But this. Okay, so the question that I feel like I still am not seeing answered by you is if this isn't your cup of action movie tea, and action movie tea is not what you're gonna grab. You're not drinking that. That's not your jive, right? But what do you think does it right where Mad Max Fury Road got it wrong?
There was a movie that came out the same year. There was a post-apocalyptic, like nostalgia-based movie. It's called Turbo Kid.
I've seen Turbo Kid,
and I thought that was better. And that's an action movie, and it's like it's got a lot of parallels, I think.
But
okay. It's even in some senses a chase movie, I think, toward but I cared so much about, like, one of the characters, spoiler alert, is a robot.
Mm-hmm.
And I cared so much about that fucking robot, which is amazing because, like, movies have taught me to fear robots and they're the villains and stuff, and it felt like Vonnegut to me. I don't know, like, if you've ever read Sirens of Titan, there's a robot character I don't know, like that. I just felt like they did it right.
Maybe that's why you didn't like Charlize Theron, because she's half cyborg in this movie. Maybe your anti-robot sentiment just really kicked in.
Is she cyborg? I thought
she's just got the metal.
Yeah, it was just a prosthetic or whatever.
Yeah.
But, also, this movie cost $180 million, and to me, it's just like irresponsible. And I guess if I liked it, I wouldn't focus on that. Mm-hmm. But like Turbo Kid cost $60,000, and I was, I just thought it was more thrilling. It's also like it definitely is an action movie that's like violent and like.
See, I think here's my comparison. If we're putting Turbo Kid up against Mad Max Fury Road,
yeah,
because I've seen both movies. My memory of Turbo Kid is it has some of those elements of action and dystopian storytelling, of like, and obviously there's a lot of similar gratuitous violence, right? Even down to like some of the people's jaws getting blown off.
Post-apocalyptic desert setting.
Right. Those both exist, and the stories there, but there's only a certain amount of stories you can tell in a post-apocalyptic desert. Like it or not, George Miller. I know who you are listening to this podcast for sure, Georgie. I think that Turbo Kid lost me because of... It felt like it was really trying to pull at the nostalgia strings in a way that Mad Max Fury Road didn't. I felt like Mad Max Fury Road, and maybe this is partially because I had no recollection of Mad Max at all.
That does add up, because one of my fucking criticisms is that just people wouldn't admit that it's a nostalgic thing for them.
See, and I don't think, because I think Turbo Kid has a lot of elements where it's clearly trying to pull it, like, oh, this is.
But it's also wholly
maybe the
original.
Cartoons that you would have liked. I don't agree with that.
I mean, how many robot love stories have you seen?
It's not about the robot love story, though. It's about all of the other elements. It's about the trappings of it being an action movie set in a desert futuristic dystopia with some sci-fi elements.
And it's also like an alternate, because it takes place in like the 90s, I think, or the early 2000s.
Yeah, whatever the nostalgic electronics.
So it's like
that
the
they tried to
apocalypse
pull you from
happened
are.
in the 80s, so everything all the artifacts are like from the 80s or maybe early 90s. And so I don't know. It's a cool movie.
I mean, but that's the thing is like, I think it's cool, but I think that it's not a great film. I think that Mad Max Fury Road
that's like, I feel like if
to that
people
level.
didn't put that onus on it, I think I would have been able to make. No, I just got bored. I didn't care. After, like halfway through, I just couldn't care. I was trying really hard to care. I felt like I was doing so much work to be invested, and then I was like, why am I? And why am I doing? Like, why am I? I was like, why am I trying to care about what happens when I don't?
I don't know how many other people out there have your same opinion on this
I
movie.
do.
I would imagine I imagine there are some people.
I felt crazy, and then I found my friend sent me a review, and I'm not sure because it was again, fucking 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I did look for the review, and I found a couple that one of them, I think it was either one of these, like this one for the Mirror is Mad Max Fury Road. Don't believe the hype. It isn't very good. Or everyone's going crazy for Mad Max, but I can't get over the one thing that absolutely ruined it for me. Is another review.
Yeah, Nick LaSalle from San Francisco Chronicle says he perceives the film as a long, dull chase.
Yes, yeah, that's. I think that is the one that my friend sent me, and I was just like, yes, he gets it. This is how I felt about it. He said, I think there's a part where he said, I found myself checking my watch, like, how long is this gonna go on? And
so
that's exactly how I felt. Like it was tedious, and
here's the thing that I think a lot. If you haven't seen this movie, and if you ever feel like watching the movie with that sense of no expectations and fresh eyes, here's what I will say, and this is something that I can only say having seen this on its third go round. Any review of Mad Max Fury Road that says it's crazy, it's just one long car chase, is doing the movie a gigantic disservice. And I remember I read a review on Letterboxd of somebody who was, they're trying to be cute and clever, and they said, I just feel like I'm going to rank my favorite 121 action movie sequences, and then they just list every, Mad Max Fury Road, minute 1, Mad Max Fury Road, minute 2. This movie is, action filmmaking can't sustain itself at that level the entire time.
I agree.
There are
this
definite
movie being proof.
Well, but that's the thing is this movie doesn't do that. It's not a car chase the entire time. Everybody's, it's an oversimplification to say it's a car chase the entire time. That'd be like me oversimplifying. I don't know. I don't have a good example because I'm all lathered up about Mad Max Fury Road right now.
But that's what it left me with. That's all I felt like. It left me with nothing.
It'd be like me saying Titanic is about a boat that sinks. Yeah, it's the boat sinking the whole time.
Titanic has like dialogue and character development.
So does Mad Max.
Like barely.
Max learns to trust people again. Furiosa pulls herself to the mat and then finally realizes that she has to accept help and that she can't do it all on her own. And Nuck sacrifices himself after de-brainwashing himself and removing the programming from the War Boys. That's plenty of character development. And you get to see Immortan Joe's face get ripped off. That's the best character development of all.
I'm bored listening to this.
Listen, I think if you watch this movie and you expect... I think that I can't change the fact that you went to this movie with expectations and it didn't live up to your expectations and then continues to not live up to what you even those lowered expectations that you have, it seems like it's not living up to that.
It felt like nothing there. And even the story that did exist, it felt like an excuse to just like, I got a bunch of, like, this guy has been thinking about making this movie for 15, 20 years, whatever. I think it came out 30 years after the first one.
Yeah, and it had been in development for like 20 years.
Yeah, see, it was just a guy with a bunch of ideas, like visual ideas. And so, like, this story wasn't there to service those ideas. It was just there as, like, let's get through this so we could blow shit up. Which is, like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like there's Michael Bay movies better than this.
Well, here's the problem with Michael Bay movies, though, is that there are a few movies in the Michael Bay oeuvre that can have the effect tonally and visually that this movie can have. This is the thing I think that we were just talking before the podcast started about how Inherent Vice and other movies that we like tend to have stuff that sort of, at least for me, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but Inherent Vice has more of a focus on like tone and putting you inside of a character's head and feeling.
Well, it's not really
the story.
It's like an unadaptable novel, and I like Paul Thomas Anderson, rather than change that, kind of embraced it,
and that's really good. And I like when a director chooses to do that, and a writer chooses to attempt to do that with their script. And I like when a movie makes you feel something and viscerally feel that thing through the use of tone and visuals and the experience of the movie instead of just what you're watching. It being like a story that makes sense and is like something that you can latch onto. And I guess what does it for me is I think Mad Max winds up hitting that sort of tonal box in addition to being able to be like, oh, this is a cool car chase. Wow, those cars blew up. This is cool.
Yeah, to me, it just, everything felt meaningless in this movie. Just like an example of the guy with the guitar, and why is there fire coming out of the guitar? Why is there fire coming out of the cars? It's not hot enough in the fucking post-apocalyptic desert. You got fire shooting at your face while you're driving through a fucking sandstorm. And then how the fuck in a fucking desert where a sandstorm just happens, they found them? How is anyone no one has a compass. No one ever looks at a fucking compass in this whole movie, and they're just driving through a desert with no roads, nothing.
That's not true. There is a compass in this movie.
Is there? Whatever. I haven't seen it in 5 years. But
you didn't rewatch it before this podcast, Tony. Now you gotta watch it.
No, I watched clips and videos about it, and read about it, but I wasn't gonna sit through it again.
I'm gonna implore you after this podcast, maybe not right after, but take a couple days. We'll cool off together and watch this movie.
My plan was to watch the other ones. I have the first one, and then I've been meaning to watch for 5 years. But yeah.
Oh, Tony, it's okay. I still think you should watch this movie.
I mean, I did. I gave it.
You got to watch it again. It's been 5 years. You got to give it a watch. You got to give it another chance.
I would rather watch The Dark Knight again, for the 10th time or whatever. I felt like the bad guy is weak. Like, who are any of these people? Like, he's just like, oh, he's a dictator, the poke-up. Everything just felt so, and I know, like, there's evidence that they put thought into it. But it's all for nothing to me, because they put way more thought into the action sequences. And
I think you got to watch it again. I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to listen to any more complaints from you until you watch it again. That's final.
That's ridiculous.
It's also, I mean, we got to wrap things up anyway.
Yeah,
but here's what I do want to also know is, so Turbo Kid, if people haven't watched, do you think they should watch that? Are there any other movies in this sort of vein that you think people should watch instead of Mad Max Fury Road?
I mean, I've been sort of getting into like 80s horror kind of. So like, I don't know. I think a lot of those are pretty cool. A lot of them are more self-aware than. It's I don't know if this qualifies, but it popped in my head. Have you ever seen Vampire's Kiss?
No, I've never even heard of Vampire's Kiss.
With Nicolas Cage? Okay. This is a movie where they tried they had a self-awareness of like what they were doing. Like people watch it and think they made a terrible movie like on accident. But they did it on purpose. It was just over the top melodramatic. The whole movie is just like, it's like American Psycho if Christian Bale was becoming a vampire. Is basically what the movie is.
I'm looking
Nicolas
at
Cage has this ridiculous accent that makes no sense and is inconsistent, and he gives the best performance in film history.
I'm looking. I
It's
mean, I love
amazing.
the Nicolas Cage performance. I'm looking at this list from the production.
It might be
on
the most
Wikipedia.
Nicolas Cage movie I've ever seen.
Apart from his pseudo-Transylvanian dialect, scenes of Cage screaming the alphabet, eating cockroaches, and ranting, "I'm a vampire," shocked viewers and critics alike.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. It's like schlocky, but yeah, I don't watch a lot of action movies because I usually don't enjoy them. I like the Marvel movies, not that they need any help for me to speak up for them.
It's crazy that you like Marvel movies more than this.
Although I do think like Avengers, the first Avengers isn't that great. I don't think Captain America's were my favorite until I didn't really like fucking Civil War, because I loved the Captain America movies, and then they just made it into an Avengers movie. Like those movies had a definite like tone and their own voice, and then they just made it the Avengers, and they threw in Spider-Man and the whole thing. I know it's based on a comic. But I don't really care about that.
Well, Tony, you got to watch Mad Max Fury Road again, but I'm not gonna breathe down your neck about it. What I will do is ask you right now to tell the audience where you can be found on the internet if they want to hit you with more Mad Max Fury Road opinions.
I'm really into stereo right now. My name on stereo is Tony Bartolone. Although I think if you search Tony Bartolone, Bartolone, you can find me. And on Instagram, Tony Barfa-Baloney. Again, you should be able to find me with my real name. And on Facebook, Tony Bartolone. Yeah.
Great.
But stereo, hit me up on stereo if anyone's on stereo listening.
Hit them up on stereo. You can find me at Diet J on Twitter and Instagram, jlightcomedy.com for anything else. And if you like the show, consider supporting on Patreon, where you can get access to bonus episodes, and the Blockbusting Film Club, where we just watched Putney Swope. And we'll do some other stuff this month, too, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Tony, thanks again.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Happy to have you, even though you're wrong. This has been Blockbusting. Go see something good for a change.